Today's session, I'm going to cover three topics. The first one is Jenkins workflow. The second is Jenkins master-slave architecture, and the third topic is schedule build. Okay. So, as you know, in our previous session, we discussed about freestyle projects, so how to create freestyle project and how to build these projects. And also, we have seen user management in Jenkins, like how to restrict the access to the users, how to create users, how to assign the responsibility or roles to the users. All these things we have studied under user management in Jenkins. Also, we discuss about the Jenkins pipeline. So how to create pipeline. So to create pipeline, we have two types, that is declarative and scripted. So these topics already we discussed in our previous session, and today we are going to discuss about the three more topics, that is Jenkins workflow, Jenkins master slave architecture, and scheduled build. Okay, so let us start with Jenkins workflow. First, tell me, is my screen visible to you? Say something. Is my screen visible? Okay. So I'll tell you first Jenkins workflow. See, Jenkins workflow means nothing but actually it is similar to Jenkins pipeline. Okay, so previously we used to call it as a Jenkins workflow, but nowadays we are calling it as a Jenkins pipeline. But I'll tell you first what is Jenkins workflow, is how the Jenkins works. Okay, so I'll tell you step by step. So you know already what I told your. So this is our Jenkins server, and already I told you many times how this Jenkins works. So, and what is the main purpose of Jenkins? So, as you know, Jenkins is called as one of the what we call automation tool. So, it is a what we call continuous integration tool. And in short, I'll tell you what is Jenkins. So, it is accessing what we call, it is pulling the code from the repository. Okay, after the developer commits the code to the repository, immediately Jenkins pulls the code from the repository and start building the code. Okay, after that it performs the what we call test, and then it performs the deploy. So three operations are performed by the Jenkins server. The first operation is build, second is, I'll write here, first is build, second is test, and third is deploy. So these three operations are performed by the Jenkins server. So, but here we will see how the Jenkins works, means its workflow. So as you know, I'll tell you step by step. The first step is uh, developer commits the code to the source code repository. I'll show you here. You know, all developers are committing the code to the repository. So immediately when the developers uploads the code or commits the code to the repository, then Jenkins work starts. Means what? Jenkins push that code. Means whenever already Jenkins is continuously checking the repository. It checks the repository at a regular interval of time. Okay, immediately Jenkins finds some changes or detects some changes in the repository, means code changes in the repository. Immediately Jenkins pulls that code, okay, from the repository and starts building the code, right? And see, after detecting changes in the repository, so as you know, it is pulling the code and building the what you call code. And if this build is fails, okay, means that build is performed on the pull code, on the fetched code from the repository. If this build is successful, then immediately, so yeah, if this the build is fails, then if the build fails, okay, first I'll see this one. Okay, now see, when the developer commits the code to the source repository, so already the Jenkins is checking the repository at a regular intervals for the changes. So immediately when the Jenkins finds the changes in the repository, it pulls the code from the repository and it starts the building the code. So that I'll write here. See, when the Jenkins finds the changes, this is our next step. I will show you or this what file I will show you here. Okay, so this is workflow. So developers checks their source code. Okay, then Jenkins will pick up the change the source code and triggers a build and runs any test if required. And then finally, if the build, so it depends on the build output. The build output will be available in the Jenkins dashboard, and then automatic notification can be sent back to the developers. So this is the normal workflow, but I'll tell you in detail. So first, the developer commits the code to the source code repository. Okay, I mean developer commits the code to the repository first, and then the Jenkins finds the changes that have occurred in the repository. Immediately, Jenkins pulls the code and start building the code. Okay, after this performing this build operation by the Jenkins, if the build is fails, if there is a problem, if there is any error in the written code or what we call the committed code to the repository, then immediately that changes or that what we call error, it is informed, it is notified to the concerned team or to the concerned developer. Means what? If the build fails, then immediately the concerned team will be notified by the Jenkins server. And if the build is successful, okay, then Jenkins starts its next step. That is, it deploys the build code to the test server. See, already in the beginning, what I told, it performs three operations. First is build, second is test, and third is deploy. After build is successful, then Jenkins deploy that build to the test server. Means it performs the testing now. Okay, and after testing, okay, Jenkins server generates a feedback. Okay, means the test reports. Okay, and then notifies that feedback plus build results to the developer. Okay, means after the testing, both the build report plus test report, it is sent back to the developers. So this is the next step. Finally, okay, the Jenkins will continue this same process. Okay, again and again. This is what it is repeating the same process. So in this way, your Jenkins works. So this is about the Jenkins workflow. Okay, you should know these steps. Okay, I'll share these notes with you. Okay, already I prepared and I think already I shared on the WhatsApp group. But once again I'll share and I'll write this step by step and I'll share with you. Okay, so this is about the Jenkins workflow. So anyone, can you tell me now, in short, the Jenkins workflow, or else how the Jenkins works, students? Okay. Now see, the next is about Jenkins master-slave architecture. Okay, we'll discuss about this next topic. Jenkins master-slave architecture. So here, first thing is why we need this architecture here. Okay, and how this architecture works, I'll tell you here. Now see, already whatever, see, I'll show you this Jenkins homepage. So this is your homepage. Means what? By default, this Jenkins server is called as a master. Okay, means whatever, see, till now we have created some projects, okay, in this Jenkins, and also we have successfully built these projects. So these projects are built. So you see, I have shown you the 5 projects here. So in our previous session, we discussed about these 5 projects, how to create these 5 projects, freestyle projects, how to build it. Okay, so who has performed this build? So by default, so this master is there, means Jenkins server is there. So this master is performing the build here. But sometimes suppose if the load on the master, if it is more, if it is increases, so in that case we can cater some slaves just to handle the workload which is available on the or which is on the master here. Means we can distribute that work. So for that purpose we have this Jenkins master slave architecture. This is also called as Jenkins distributed architecture. This work on the master, it is distributed among the slaves. Okay, if there is a less workload, then master itself can handle that load. If workload is more, so then Jenkins creates slaves and distribute that work among the slaves here, master and slaves. Okay, now I'll tell you in detail how this master slave architecture works. So this Word file, see, already in this, see here, your Jenkins follows the master slave architecture to manage the distributed builds. Okay, in this architecture, slave and master, they communicate through TCP/IP protocol. See, after creating a slaves, how this slave and master communicates. So using TCP/IP protocol, slaves and master, these are communicating with each other. And see, in this architecture, we have two components. One is master. So this is your master slave architecture, just Jenkins master slave. So we have this master, this is your Jenkins server, right? And we have this multiple slaves here. Okay, so this is a here in this slave node we have Windows operating system. In this we can have different operating systems on slave node. Okay, also we can have Apple operating system and we can have Linux operating system. So in this case, so in this diagram we have created three slave node, and we have one master. Okay, and in between these two we have TCP connection. It is called TCP/IP connection, right? So under this architecture we have two components. Okay, Jenkins master and Jenkins slave here, right? Now, so now let us discuss how the Jenkins master, means this master node, how it manages the slave node. By default we have master node in our Jenkins server. Now see here, now why we need Jenkins server? See, sorry, Jenkins master slave architecture. See, sometimes you might need several different environments to test your builds. This is the first reason. Means we need different environments to perform the test or to perform the builds. In that case, for a single Jenkins server, it is not possible. Means for a single master, or already we have default master node here. For master node, it is not possible to perform the builds, different builds on different environments, or to perform different environments. Okay, right. And also, if the larger and heavier projects get built on a regular basis, means we have large projects and we are trying to build those projects. So for a single server, for a single master, it is very difficult to perform build. Okay, if we have a large project or heavier projects. So to handle these situations, we are creating a slave nodes, and we have this Jenkins distributed architecture, or else we can call it as a Jenkins master slave architecture. Okay, now here in this Jenkins master slave architecture, we'll see how to manage now if distributed builds. So how the master performs the builds and how the slave performs the builds. How the workload it is distributed among the slave nodes. That we'll see now. Now see, what is the role of Jenkins master in this architecture? We'll discuss first the role of Jenkins master, and we'll discuss then role of Jenkins server. See, here this Jenkins master is your default, sorry, Jenkins server is nothing but your default master, and your master's job is to handle, master is scheduling the build jobs. Okay, after getting 5 to 6 projects, or after having, suppose we have 8 to 9 projects or 10 projects, so we have to, the master will schedule this build jobs. Okay, schedule means what? Suppose we have 10 projects. Okay, so master want to give, and we are suppose we have 2 slave nodes. Okay, so master can assign 5 projects to first node, first slave node, and remaining 5 projects to second slave node. That is called as a scheduling build jobs. Then after scheduling this, after assigning 5 projects to the slave node and 5 projects to the slave node 1 and slave node 2, okay, then the nodes will start the building the project. So for that, again, dispatching builds to the slaves for the actual execution. Okay, first assigning the jobs to the slave, that is the first task or first job performed by the master. After that, master will dispatch the builds to the slave. Means it will start the execution. It will give the command to the slave to start the what we call uh, the build operation. After that, after giving the instructions to the slave, your master node monitors the slave continuously. Okay, master node checks it is continuously monitoring the slave nodes. That is also one more job of the master node. Again, after that, recording and presenting the build results. See, your slave node performs the build. After that, after performing the build, that reports are sent back to the master, and master will present those build results. Okay, that is the one more job of master node. And finally, the a master instance of Jenkins can also execute the build jobs directly. Means sometimes the master node itself performs the build. So these are the 4 to 5 what we call tasks performed the master node here, Jenkins master node. Similarly, we have Jenkins slave in this architecture. So this Jenkins slave is a Java executable, what we call node. Means we have to use some Java code here to run the slave. Okay, and this slave runs on the remote machine and perform this the following task here. Means what? First task perform the slave is it hears the request from the Jenkins master instance. Means whatever master says, that request it performs. Okay. First it listens the request sent by the master node. Like okay, means request means what? How many jobs are assigned to the slave? Only those jobs are built by the slave here. Right. That is the first task performed by the slave. Second is slave can run a variety of operating system. Okay. Means we can run slave on different types of operating system. That's the second. And third is the job of the slave is to do as they are told to. Means as per the master instruction, okay, it performs the job. Okay, so it involves executing the build jobs, also dispatching the build jobs dispatched by the master. Okay, whatever the jobs dispatched by the master, those jobs are performed by the slave here. Also, sometimes you can configure a project to always run on a particular slave machine or a particular type of slave machine, or simply let the Jenkins pick the next available job. Means sometimes a job it is assigned to a particular slave only. Okay, suppose job 2 or okay it is assigned to slave 2. So only slave 2 will perform the job 2. No other slaves will perform the job. Okay, so that kind of task also perform the slave. So these are about the Jenkins master's task and Jenkins slave task. Okay, is it correct now, students? I hope it is clear to you. What is the role of master slave, Jenkins slave, and Jenkins master here? Now next is I'll show you how this master. So whatever I told that is theoretical, like how this master slave architecture works. Right. Now we'll see practically in Jenkins how to set up Jenkins master and slave nodes. Okay. So for that, so you have to see this is my Jenkins homepage. Now I'm going to show you how this master slave architecture works. Okay, we'll see step by step. As I told you, we have this default. So whatever, okay, see this is our default server or default master. Okay, now master is going to create now slave nodes. So how to create slave nodes? So go to manage Jenkins. Please see carefully. I'm going to show you how this master slave architecture works. So before that, we'll create some slave nodes. Okay, by default we have this master node. So master will be creating now slave nodes. So to create slave nodes, the first step is click on the manage Jenkins. One minute. Okay, then go down. Here you have some options called, see, manage nodes here. 1 minute, I'll show you. See, manage nodes and clouds. Now click on this manage nodes and clouds. Okay. Now this is your by default master node here. Already we have master node which is running on Windows 10 operating system. So in my system, in my laptop, Windows 10 operating system is there. So this master node is running on Windows 10 operating system. Now I want to create slave nodes now. Right. Now go to node monitoring. 1 minute. Jenkins node. Just first click on manage Jenkins, then go to manage nodes and clouds. Okay. Now here on the top right corner, you have one button called new node. So click on this new node. Okay. Now it will ask the, now I'm going to create a first slave node. So give the name to this node, slave 1. Okay. Then click on this permanent. Okay. Select this option, permanent agent, and click create. Okay. See, one more thing. Before this, I will tell you here. See, in this master slave architecture, as I told you, by default we have master node in Jenkins. Okay. Now next is, and what I told, we are creating slave node. For what purpose? Just to help the master, because if the load on the master is more, if it is increases, so master alone cannot handle that load. So to help the master node, we are creating slave nodes, right? So in this, I'm going to show you how to create the slave nodes. So before that, I'll tell you how, in short, like practically how it works. Okay, then I'll show you practically also. Now suppose, see, after, see in this master node, so whatever work we do under this master node, that is stored in the directory. So by default we have directory for this master node is, for master node we have directory called as, which is available on C drive by the name Jenkins. So this is your master's default directory. Is whatever the job or whatever the task you perform under this master node, so that information is stored under this Jenkins folder, right? Similarly, if you are creating few slaves, slave 1, for this also we have to create one more directory, because see, the jobs or the task performed by the slave, it also we have to store in a separate folder, a separate directory. Okay, here we call it as a directory. For master, the default directory is Jenkins. For slave, we have to create a directory, okay, to save the work done by the slave 1 node. So I'll create this slave 1 directory, again in C drive. Again for the second slave 2, I'll create one more directory. Slave 2. Okay, so right now in this Jenkins fold directory, the work done by the master node will be saved. Okay, and again in slave 1 directory, the work or the operations performed by the slave node, it is saved. And again in slave 2 directory, the work done by the slave node, it is stored. Right. So we have these 3 directories. So we are creating these 2 slave nodes. Means the master is creating these 2 slave nodes. Right. And one more thing is, okay, after creating this slave node, we have to create a link, because already I told you that the master and slave, the communication between master and slave, it takes place through TCP/IP protocol. So first we have to create a link between, or we have to establish a link between master and slave. So to establish a link between master and slave, we need one jar file. Means directly master node cannot communicate with the slave node, slave 1 or slave 2. So we need one more file called as agent file, agent.jar. So this file we have to download. Okay. Okay, and using this file, then master node can communicate with the slave 1 and slave 2. That I'll show you how to link the master with slave 1 and how to link master with slave 2 using agent.jar. Okay, so this file is needed, okay, to link the master with slave nodes. And the next is again, after linking this master with slave nodes, then we have to start the building operation. Means suppose I have 5 projects. Okay, I want to build all 5 projects. Okay, so if I start the building all 5 projects, and see, as you know, all this master and slave node we created, okay, to handle this build operation. Okay, so immediately random means after starting all these 5, suppose if I start this first one, just wait, I'll go to dashboard. So I have these 5 projects here. If I start this first project, if I click on this build now, so after this, if in my Jenkins server, in this Jenkins, if I have one master and 2 slaves, so randomly this build operation, it is assigned to any node. Sometimes it is assigned to master node, sometimes it is assigned to the slave node. Okay, means randomly this build is performed by any one node, either master node or slave 1 node or slave 2. Okay, similarly, if I start the first project build, so randomly it is assigned, this build is assigned to any node, either master or slave, right? And suppose, means because all are free, means slave 1 is also free, slave 2 is also free, and master is also free. And if I start, okay, building any one, okay, we have 5, I can start any one. So automatically that build operation is assigned to random, means it is randomly assigned to any one node, either master or slave 1 or slave 2. Okay, so but suppose I want to assign this second project build to slave 2, suppose. So in that case, we have to assign a label to this second project as well as the label to the slave 2, right? Let's see it. I'll show you. Suppose I want to assign second project build. This I want to perform this build second project build operation on slave 2 only. Slave 2. Okay. Then in this case, we have to assign label to this second project, the same label, and and slave 2. Suppose I am assigning label, suppose XYZ level to this second project. The same label you have to assign to slave 2. Then every time the second project build is performed by slave 2 only. If you are not assigning labels to either either to project or to the node, then randomly that build is performed by any node. Clear? So this is about the general discussion about Jenkins master slave architecture. Now we'll see practically now. I told you that, see, how to create now, how to create the slave nodes. So first you have to click on manage Jenkins, then go to manage nodes. See, I'm going to create a slave node. Okay, already we have by default here master node. Okay, to create a slave node, click on this new node, top right corner. It will ask now the slave node name. So I'm giving slave 1. You have to select this option, permanent agent. See here, add a permanent agent to Jenkins. So if you want to detail information about this agent, so you read this paragraph, you'll get idea about this agent. Now click on the create. Okay, after that, so it will ask some information about the slave 1, right? So for example, so you can add the description about the slave 1 here, the number of executors. It means that this slave can perform how many jobs at a time. Okay, here 1 means what? Slave 1 can perform only 1 job at a time. You can change this. Suppose if you write 2, it means that the slave node can perform 2 builds at a time, right? If it is 1 means it performs only 1 build at a time. Again, there is one more field called remote root directory. So just now I was talking about here. Suppose you are creating a node called slave 1. So immediately the work performed by the slave 1 must be stored in one directory. So that directory name you have to specify. So this you have to write in this remote root directory. You have to give this path. It means that the work performed by the slave 1 should be stored in this directory. Okay. Next. Okay. Then after this, go to launch method. See, after creating a slave 1, it will ask some details about the slave 1 node, like a description of slave 1, then number of already it is there 1, then remote root directory. So you have to add only this remote root directory, the labels, and this launch method. By default, the launch method is launch swarm agent. So we have to change this launch agent via execution of command on the control. So you can choose this option. Okay, so anyone launch swarm agent. I'll show you this third one, launch agent via execution of command on the control. Select this option and you have to type the command here, launch command. Okay, so launch command means what? Now, if you want the details about the launch command, click on this question mark. See here. The single command to launch a agent program which controls the agent computer and the communication with the controller. Controller is nothing but your master. Now we have to establish now. We created slave 1, but how to connect this slave 1 to the master? So we need one command. That's what we need, one agent.jar file. Already I told you we have to connect this master with slave 1. Okay, so we need one. We have to link this master with slave 1. We need this agent.jar file. Okay, so we have to download this file. So here, so you have this link. Copy agent.jar. This can be downloaded from here. Just click on this link. Okay, already started. It is downloaded. Just copy this agent file and paste in C drive. cut here, go to C drive and paste here. So what I did is I downloaded agent.jar file because we need this file to link master to slave 1. Not only slave 1, we need this agent file to link master with slave 2. Means to all slaves. Okay, we have to download only once. After downloading, okay, then you have to paste this file in C drive and you have to give this path. So now it is available in C drive. And this path we have to give in the launch command here. Here you have to give the path now. So I'll show you. Here you have to type Java space jar -jar, then C:\agent.jar. That's it. So this is your command. Okay, what we did is we downloaded this agent.jar, okay, from this link, okay, and this downloaded file I pasted in the C drive, and I have given the path of this agent.jar in this launch command. But before this path, we have to write Java space -jar space C:\agent.jar. Right. Then after this, click on the save. But now see, here slave 1 node is created. Similarly, I will create one more node, slave 2. Okay, type here name of second node, second slave node. It is slave 2. Okay, now here I am getting one more option. Copy existing node. So anyone you can select this first or second. But if I click this second, copy existing node means already we have created one slave 1 node. So whatever the what we call settings we have done under slave 1, the same setting is applied to slave 2. If you click on this copy, if you select this copy existing node, click here. Now it will ask so which node already you created, so or which node setting you want to apply to this node. So here you have to type the first type for suggestion. Slave 1. Okay. Apply the setting of slave 1 to the slave 2, and then click on create. Error because here why am I getting error? Because S is small. Just go back. Okay, now it is slave 1. Give the name of this slave 2. Right. The copy existing node means the slave 1 setting, it is applied to slave 2. Okay. Okay. Again, it will ask the details about the or some additional settings about the slave 2. That is description of slave 2, the number of executors. So already it is similar to slave 1. Then remote root directory. Now see, for slave 2, we have to create one more separate directory, that is slave 2. Next label I'll show you afterwards. Again, see, launch agent via execution of command on the control. So same is applied, and see dot agent file. Right. Now you have to click on save now. Okay, now see, agent has been already launched. Okay. Go to manage Jenkins. Go to nodes. Now see, we have created these two nodes, right? So creation of slave node is over, and also what we did is we linked the master node with slave 1 as well as with slave 2. Now we'll see how this build operation is performed. Okay, if you okay, now go to dashboard. Now see, we have these 5 projects and we have these 3 nodes here. One, this is your master node. A master node can execute or can perform 2 builds at a time. Similarly, because the number of executors for this master is 2, a number of executors for this slave 1 and slave 2 is 1. It means that slave 1 and slave 2 can perform only 1 build at a time, and master can perform 2 builds at a time. See, so we have 3 nodes, and here we have 5 projects. What I told is, if I start building any one project, so build operation I want to start. Okay, so randomly, suppose I want to start this dev project 1. Randomly it is assigned to anyone, what you call node here, either slave 1, slave 2, or master. Now let us see how this build dev project 1 build is performed by node. Okay, click on build now. Now see this, yeah, not yet assigned to any node 1. Just click on this. It's for 847. So it is performed by 1 meter. Just go back. Go to dashboard. Again, start the second one. Then this one. Okay, now I'll show you. Actually, if you are not assigning label to any project or to any node, so randomly any project can be built by any node here. Now I want to show you. Suppose this first project, I want to perform this first project build, okay, on slave 1 only. So in that case, what I told, we have to assign label to this slave 1, is same label to slave 1 and to the this project. Okay, so let us start with this project. Click on this config, right click on the first project, config, right, and wait, it will start. Students, is it clear to you? Hello. Okay, now see, uh, so go to, see, go to this restrict where this project can be run. Click here and give the label here. So if I give label XYZ, I'm giving label to this first project XYZ and click on save. Okay. Now I given the label to first project. Okay, same label we have to give to the node now, slave 1, because I want to run this first project on the slave 1 node only, or I want to perform the build of this first project on slave 1 node. Now go to Jenkins, go to dashboard first, manage Jenkins, then manage nodes, and click on this slave, right click on the slave, click on configure. Here we have label, here it is XYZ. Same label I have given, okay, under this slave 1 and project. Now click on save, right. Now go to dashboard. Next, click on the first project and see. This first project is built by the slave one. Is it clear? If you want to check now, go to first project. Click on the first project. Click this one. Now see here. It is performed by slave one because we have assigned this XYZ. Similarly, right, and what is the result? It is success. Suppose I'll show you once again. Suppose I want to perform this test project one. I perform this build operation of test project one by the slave two. Again here, what we have to do? We have to assign label to the test project one and the same label to slave one. Okay, first assign label to this test project one. Go to configure. Okay, now see here you have to click on this. You have to select this restrict where this project can be run. Here give label here as a B C. Any label you can give. You click on save. Okay, same label you have to assign to slave 2 because I want to run this test project 1 on slave 2. Okay, so for this, go to manage Jenkins, go to manage nodes, then slave 2, right click on slave 2, configure, and here label as ABC, same label I'm giving. Then click on save. Now go to dashboard. Now see here, see this slave 2. Yeah. Okay, I'll start this test project 1 and this is built by the slave 1 here. See carefully. I'm clicking on build now. So it is built by, wait. One minute. Now see here. This is built by slave 2. Clear? I hope it is clear to you. It is clear to everyone. Right. So this is about Jenkins master slave architecture. Yeah, the important point is first you should know that by default we have master node in our Jenkins server, right? And to distribute the load among load of the master node, we are creating slave nodes. Okay, after creating slave nodes, you know, so also you should know how to create slave nodes. That procedure I told you. So after creating slave nodes, we have to connect master with slave node by using a file called agent.jar. After that, okay, then you have to assign labels to the project as well as to the node node here. It's same. Suppose I want to run a project on a particular node, so assign label to that project and same label to the node where you want to run that project here. So this I have shown you. So in this way, Jenkins master slave architecture works. Okay, so these notes I'll share with you. Now there is one more. So is it clear to everyone? Okay, shall I move to next topic?